Oh, this interview, like I said before, is written. You know, Akifumi Kaneko, the creator of Wild Arms, never shows his face in public for, I don't know. I was going to ask the PR person, why, but I was like, man, maybe they don't want to tell people why. I mean, he must have his reasons. Maybe he's too shy, or I don't know. But this guy doesn't show his face in public, so the interview was written. So in case you missed it, on the community section of my main channel, here we go. So what made you start a Kickstarter for an Armed Fantasia? And check out what he answered. He said, the reality of it is that right now, if you were to propose a turn-based RPG to a Japanese publisher, they probably wouldn't agree to help you make it. Go to hell, Square Enix, this is all your fault. Because a lot of companies are still making turn-based RPG. I mean, even Enix. Dragon Quest XI was turn-based, right? I mean, Falcom's making turn-based RPGs. Atlus is making turn-based RPGs. A lot of companies are still doing them. But apparently, Kaneko-san doesn't believe in the modern gaming industry for turn-based RPGs. So he also said, I've been in the gaming industry for a long time, so I understand things from a publisher's perspective as well. But despite that, I believe that there are a lot of fans out there who want me to make a turn-based RPG. You're goddamn right, Kaneko-san. And that's why he decided to go to Kickstarter, because he felt he didn't have support from publishers. You should have gone to Atlus, man. Anyway, second question. What made you work with Machida-san for the Kickstarter? So Machida-san, in case for those who don't know, that's the creator of Shadow Hearts that I also interviewed in my main channel in person. It wasn't a written interview like this one. In person, in Zoom, face to face. And if you don't know, the two guys decided to create a double Kickstarter, to develop both games, the spiritual successor to Shadow Hearts and to Wild Arms. Alright, so his answer was, we've known each other for a while. But the big reason we joined up was because we both wanted to take the type of JRPGs we used to make and give them a modern update. The double Kickstarter was born through a random discussion I had with Machida-san. So they were just talking and they were like, oh, let's just do this, There's no way Sony, is going to publish our game, so yeah, let's do that. He probably said something like that. Anyway, so yeah, let's keep going. The third question. I said it looks like Armed Fantasia will be a turn-based RPG. Thank you for that. What made you decide to keep the combat turn-based? He said, thank you as well. I love turn-based battles myself. I love them because they're calm, strategic, and almost like puzzles that you have to solve. Armed Fantasia's battles, especially boss battles, will have plenty of new experiences for everyone to enjoy. I hope you're looking forward to it. Eventually, if I were to make another JRPG, one that's not a Wild Arms spiritual successor, I'd like the battles to have tons of action elements in them. Okay, so he is interested in making action RPGs as well. Good. As long as they aren't Wild Arms. Question number 4. Are there any JRPGs that inspired you to create Armed Fantasia and Wild Arms? And he said, of course. But he didn't specify which JRPGs. He just said yes. Developing JRPGs is fun, but playing them is also fun. I played a lot of the classics when I was a kid. However, lately I haven't been able to play many games. I've been too busy working on anime and developing games to do so. But also, there haven't been very many JRPGs released in the Japanese market as of late either. And I put in parentheses right below, Kaneko is probably not up to date with modern releases, it seems. There haven't been many JRPGs released in the Japanese market as of late. There's like 10 times way more than in the 90s. Yeah, he's probably not up to date with modern releases. Anyway, when you made Wild Arms, next question. When you made Wild Arms, were you working for Mediavision or directly for Sony? I feel like a lot of people don't know that Mediavision is the developer of Wild Arms, Chaos Rings, some of the Valkyria Chronicles games, Shining Resonance Refrain, and lots of others. I really considered including Mediavision in my underrated JRPG developers video, but I didn't. So anyway, he said, at the time I worked for Mediavision. He's no longer working for Mediavision. He quit a long time ago. We'll get to that in a bit. He also said, however, the game was based on a plan that I made for the company I worked for before I worked at Mediavision. He didn't mention the company's name. I had originally envisioned the game being on the Super Famicom. I don't know if you guys know this, but I don't know if you guys have played the original Wild Arms, but it just doesn't look like a PlayStation game. I mean, it kind of does look like that, but it also looks... I mean, there's a lot of 2D elements in there. I mean, when he answered that, I was like, oh, so that's the reason why the game, the first Wild Arms, looks a little bit more like a Super Famicom game than a PlayStation game. So that's the reason. It was a game originally... Man, that's a great answer, I didn't know that. And next question, how much did Sony have to do with the creation of Wild Arms? Did you have full creative control? And you guys are gonna love this answer. He said, I don't remember them having a lot of demands as far as the original Wild Arms go, though I may have simply ignored any demands they had at the time. I love this guy. We were a small team of about 10 people and we worked on it for about 3 years. They let us make it very slowly. Thinking of it that way, they actually had a decent amount of influence on how the game turned out. Alright. Next question. Out of all the Wild Arms games you worked on, which one is your favorite? I also asked this question to the Shadow Hearts creator. Which one is your favorite Shadow Hearts? And his answer is really unexpected. Check this out. He said, they're all different, so I can't really put them in order. I love them all, and the fans of each game are very important to me. This has nothing to do with which ones I like, but Wild Arms 4 and Wild Arms Crossfire on the PSP were actually what got me into working in the anime industry. I gained a lot of skills for that sort of job in developing those two titles, so those two are special to me in that way. Interesting because those two are among the worst Wild Arms games. I mean, Wild Arms 4 is still a very good game in my opinion, but it's one of the least better games in the series, and Crossfire is a broken game, but these are the games he chose for this answer. These are the Wild Arms games that are the most special to him. That's really interesting. Why did the battle system change so much in Wild Arms 4? So he said, because we took an idea from one of the staff members. During the development of Wild Arms 4, there were many reasons that forced us to change various systems in the game. But the battle system was something that we worked hard to keep as we originally envisioned it. Personally, I like that battle system a lot. And to be honest, I love that battle system too. But one random staff member proposed that battle system and it changed. A lot of people back then, in the early 2000s, didn't like this change, but I loved it. So in Wikipedia, you can barely find any information of this guy because Akifumi Kaneko was always kind of the director or writer of the Wild Arms series, but in Wild Arms 5 he was barely there. So I asked him, what was your role in Wild Arms 5? Wild Arms 5 is my favorite in the series. He said, I didn't participate in Wild Arms 5 as a game designer or main director or anything, but I was one of the producers behind the project. Because of that, just like during the development of Wild Arms 4, I was able to stop some of my original ideas about the game from getting changed. Awesome. I was able to protect the project. Also, I'd like to add that while I wasn't the main writer on the story, I was in charge of part of the scenario for the game. So it's not like I didn't participate in the development of Wild Arms 5 at all. And then I asked him, what did you think about the game? He said, I love Wild Arms 4, especially how high quality the character models were. They are. For a PlayStation 2 game, they are. The battle system was great too, as we were able to reflect on the one from Wild Arms 4, while keeping things consistent within the series. But the biggest thing I'm proud of is that we were able to bring back the world map, something we had to keep out of Wild Arms 4. He's right, there's no world map. I mean, there is a world map in Wild Arms 4, but it's menu based. You can just move your character from one location to the other. And in Wild Arms 5, there's an overworld with an amazing world map theme, by the way. Next question. Besides the Symphogear series, the Symphogear series is an anime series he worked on. What else have you worked on since you left the Wild Arms team? Mediavision. He said, I developed a multiplayer versus action game on the PSP. He didn't mention the name of the game. I don't just develop JRPGs, but also action games as well. This was way before Wild Arms. But I also made an action game called with Satoshi Tajiri and Ken Sugimori. If you don't know who those guys are, they are pretty much the directors the guys from Pokemon, the guys from Game Freak. It never wound up being released, but it seems like a sample ROM of it somehow wound up on the internet. I hate the fact that he didn't mention the names of the games. Next question. What are your thoughts on the direction Wild Arms took after you left MediaVision? Pretty much I wanted to ask him about Wild Arms A Million Memories, the mobile gacha free-to-play game that was shut down a few years, I think it was shut down this year or last year. It was a failure. And he said, for Million Memories, someone else ordered the BGM instead of me. I don't know why he's talking about the music. He may have misunderstood my question. When I heard the finished songs, it was very interesting to hear what someone else had imagined when thinking of the wilderness as the setting for a game. It made me realize a few things that I hadn't thought about before. Yeah, I don't know why he decided to answer a question about the music. Whatever, it's probably a mistranslation. There's some kind of misunderstanding in there. But anyway, he also said the things that I thought about and realized from that period have actually come out during the process of making the songs from Armed Fantasia. So it was a very meaningful time. Okay, now he kept going. As far as things I'm not fond of from that time, I was only able to supervise what was going on for about 2 hours, once every 2 weeks. So I spent a lot of time outside of work on holidays or late at night at restaurants secretly creating the story. So he secretly created the story for A Million Memories? Anyway, I wouldn't care if they lowered my pay as low as it will go. I just wanted to be involved in the development a lot more. When I was invited to the place they were making the game, I had already had most of the project and the game systems figured out in my head. I wish that I wasn't just a supervisor, but rather that I got to use my own hands to help develop that game. So probably if he had worked directly on Million Memories, it probably would have turned out to be maybe a normal, regular turn-based RPG. But instead it ended up being an action gacha game, free-to-play with microtransactions. And that's why the game failed miserably. That's the end of the interview. And that's it. That's the whole interview, guys. So, hope you enjoyed it. Or you can find the whole written interview in my community section on my main channel, Erick Landon RPG.